So did you guys, were you funded or did you self-fund?
We self-funded.
What's your opinion on that? Do you think that was better?
So I've had a lot of discussions about that recently. We're now sitting at about close to 7 million in revenue, and it looks like next year it'll be around 10 or 11. And we started with nothing. We started with basically what I could produce, essentially, and I do think that it was the better call in hindsight. It could have been the worst call, actually, in looking at it from 10 years later. It allowed us to organically grow into ourselves, and it made the mistakes that we made early on, or that I made, certainly less problematic, because I didn't owe anybody anything except for myself. So I think I was able to be a little bit more risky in the decisions that we made early on, and trying things that maybe would have worked, trying people that maybe would have worked. And so I do credit it to the success, the organic growth of it. And we've never taken a loan. We've never taken money from anybody. So it's been self-funded all the way through to today.
Megan, do you think that was also what allowed you kind of follow your gut, because you weren't answering to a board or an investor? You could stay on focus and say, you know what, I think this is the space we need to own. Granted, no one's ever done it before, but that's, you got to follow your instincts more too.
Yeah. I mean, and that could have failed, right? Like, I could have failed. And so there was the risk of that, but I didn't feel like I had anything really to lose. I had enough confidence in myself to know that I'd be fine either way on the other side. And I decided that if I was going to take this risk, which at the time was leaving a very healthy, high paying job, to go and do this, for me to take that risk of myself, I didn't want to answer to anybody else. It was too much. It was such a risk for me to leave and start my own thing, that once I got to decide to do that, I wasn't going to answer to anybody else. I was going to kind of do it my way and go down with the ship or sail it into the wind. It was, for me, it wasn't even an option. I didn't even think of it that way. I didn't want to do it any other way at the time. I said, sorry, go ahead.
You had level 5 commitment, right? You was
100%, 2 feet in. I was all in. It was, and it's funny, I listened to Bob Parsons talk about, I went to the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies conference last year because we were on the list. We're on it again this year, and I'll be going in a couple of weeks. And Bob Parsons spoke last year about, and I don't know if you know his story about GoDaddy, but he actually lost, I think, $67 million. He was $2 million shy of losing all of his money. And he went on vacation to decide what was he going to put the last 2 million in and go bankrupt? And he did it, and ended up coming out the other end $1.5 million later with GoDaddy. And, you think, I thought about that, and I thought, that's really true. Now, it wasn't on the same scale. I don't know if I would have been willing to lose $67 million. I've never made $67 million, so I don't know. But, at the time, I didn't feel as though I had anything to lose. And so I think that was a nice driver for me, is that I didn't, it was just going to be me having to start over again, which for me wasn't a big risk.